Hey everyone, sorry for the delay. We were having some technical difficulties.
But we're here now.
Yes, we are here. So again, sorry for the delay. Right now we're not seeing anybody in the chat, but we hope that many people will be joining us shortly. But welcome to Travel Odysseys. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel and give this video a huge thumbs up. And we hope to see a lot of your comments in the area below, just telling us about how you deal with trying to stay healthy whenever you travel.
Absolutely.
Now, and I do have my notes here, so lots of notes, just to make sure I don't forget anything important. But the title of this video is 5 tips on how to stay healthy while traveling. And those of you who are real travel adventurers, if you stick it out through the whole entire video, there will be a 6th bonus tip. So, I know, very exciting. So make certain that you pay attention, stick with us for the entire video because we have a lot of really cool things to share.
Yes.
However, one important disclaimer.
Yes, we're not medical professionals. We're just going to tell you about some travel tips, things we've experienced on our own with our travels. And it's really up to you to do the research, due diligence for your own health decisions. So these are based on our experiences and some of our research, but please take the extra step and take care of yourself first, since we're not medical professionals.
Absolutely. And if you ever have any doubts or concerns or questions, make certain that you talk with a licensed medical professional.
Yes.
All right, tip number 5.
Do.
Beware of the sun. She loves the sun.
I love the sun. I absolutely love it. I'm very much a sun baby. So when I struggle sometimes not seeing the sun, but it's a good balance between loving the sun and not being cooked in it. So, you know.
Well, as we all know, the sun can be dangerous because of ultraviolet radiation. And ultraviolet radiation, also known as UV, can cause skin cancer and it can cause premature aging of the skin. So, the way to protect yourself against that is by using sunscreen, also known as sunblock. And there's 2 different types of rays to be careful of. There's ultraviolet B and ultraviolet A rays. And usually when people talk about getting a certain SPF or sun protection factor, they are referring to here's where I need my notes. They're referring to the UVB rays being blocked. And generally, you want to get a bare minimum of a SPF 15, which simply means that you can stay out in the sun 15 times longer than somebody who has no protection without getting any significant skin damage.
Exactly.
So, of course, the higher SPF rating, the longer the protection lasts. But sometimes in the very, very upper ranges, actually, if you look at the research, it doesn't actually make too much of a difference, maybe a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So UVA rays, however, can also cause skin cancer, and actually UVA, according to some online research which I did, is actually responsible for aging the skin more than UVB rays.
And that means wrinkles, ladies.
Yes.
But I do want to say one thing too. People do need a certain amount of vitamin D every day. So the darker the skin, the longer you're going to need to stay to get the vitamin D. But then you don't want to stay out too long where you're actually doing damage to the skin. So like everything in life, it's about a balance.
Yes. And in order to protect yourself from the UVA rays, you need something that's broad spectrum and make certain that it contains certain ingredients. Now, these are frequently, and we're not being paid to market any company here at all.
Nope.
This just happens to be one of the sunscreens that we use. And looking closely at it, it does say broad spectrum for UVA and UVB protection. You probably cannot see that very well there, but it is on there. So that's one of the things that we look for. And specifically, there are certain ingredients in sunscreen that gives you that UVA protection. These are definitely in my notes. Scientific words.
Ooh, multisyllabic.
Yes. Well, not the first one though. Zinc oxide gives you UVA protection. Titanium dioxide. Those are two that I memorized. The others: oxybenzone, stabilized avobenzone, salisobenzone, and I'm probably mispronouncing this. Ecamsule. Okay. Based on what I read, that last one is very expensive.
Yeah.
But by the way, some of these ingredients are actually prohibited. Like in Hawaii,
Yes.
they have prohibited sunscreens that use oxybenzone because it's bleaching the coral reefs. And what that means is it's killing off the chlorophyll, so the coral cannot do photosynthesis to make food, and it's just damaging a lot of the coral reefs.
And this is something relatively new. So if you've been to Hawaii, we were there in 2016. In the last couple of years, they've made this change. So just something to be aware of if you're going to Hawaii anytime soon.
Definitely. And check see if there's any limitations wherever you go. But knowing that oxybenzone can cause damage to coral reefs, maybe just try to avoid products that specifically use that particular chemical. Make certain you apply the sunscreen about 30 minutes before you go out. Don't forget the hard reach areas like the tips of the ears and, of course, the nose, back of the neck, behind your knees. All those places are easy to miss.
Oh, and one thing with that, too, ladies, with your straps, too, try to get under the straps. Believe me, I've experienced that, where it'll burn right around the straps because I think I get close enough. So if you can get underneath for a bikini or a strapless top, put it under that because the sun don't care. It will just shine everywhere. So just those hard to reach spots for sure.
Yep. And also make certain that the sunscreen is water and sweat resistant. Notice that I'm not saying water or sweat proof because no sunscreen is really water or sweat proof.
True. So
apply it liberally. I mean, if you go into water, it's not going to last as long. So just be aware of that. Also, make certain that you wear sunglasses.
Ooh.
Sunglasses make you look really, really cool.
They do.
Also, make certain that it gives you UVA and UVB protection. And this is something which I don't do, but your lips will also be exposed to the sun. So use lip balm that gives you that UVA and UVB protection.
Exactly.
Oh, and don't forget to wear a hat, especially if you're a little challenged on top.
Yeah. Well, and even if you're not, then again, the sun don't care. It'll get you everywhere. So, yeah.
All right. Tip number 4. Tracy's favorite. Get enough sleep.
Yay!
Sleep is good.
I love sleep. If sleep were a stuffed animal, I would just hold it all night and never stop cuddling it. Love me some sleep.
Now remember, the average adult, in order to stay healthy, needs between 7 and 8 hours of sleep every evening. And hello, Florida Pirate Adventures!
Hello,
hey!
Welcome, Florida!
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Awesome. We just finished talking about sunscreen, and I know in Florida, that's something that you guys really have to be aware of. So
exactly.
Yes.
Definitely in the southern parts too of the state.
But right now, we kind of moved on to getting enough sleep, and sleep is uber important.
Yes.
It does have an impact upon your immune system.
Yes.
If you're not getting enough sleep and you're exposed to a virus, you're more likely to get sick from that virus, and it'll take you a lot longer to recover.
Yeah.
And this is based upon studies. I mean, I think I got that from WebMD.
I just sneeze.
She is not ill.
No, just
more allergies.
Allergies too. Yeah. Excuse me.
You never use the sunscreen?
Well, enjoy. But sleep is really, really. I used to teach psychology, and we did a whole chapter on sleep. So sleep is responsible for your memory, your learning, integrating things that you've experienced during the day, but also definitely the immune system. Because I hate to break it to you, but there are germs everywhere all the time. But if you sleep or if you don't get enough sleep, then you're not giving your body the extra defenses, especially around the holidays. You might not be around little kids a lot, and around the holidays you are, and they're, you know, I don't want to say they're walking petri dishes, but they're you know, they've got little sniffles and stuff all the time, and they're poking their nose and pointing at their brain, and and their hands are places where they're not normally. So you're exposed to a lot more, and sleep will definitely help you. And you know, if you've had a good night's sleep, just the difference in your mood, in your ability, and there's even some research that can that says that your ability to withstand pain is higher if you've gotten a good night's sleep. So it's not only the immune system, but it affects so many different levels. Yeah, and if you can get 7 to 8 hours, and that's a generalization. Some people can get by on less. Some people need more. I will say there is such a thing as sleeping too much, though. People our age should not be sleeping 12 hours a day unless they're trying to make it up. But every night, that's not good. So anyway, hi, Happy Trails. Hi,
hey, Happy Trails.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. We're talking about sleep.
Yes. Sleep is important when you travel.
That's right. So
great to have you both. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, welcome. Yes. So one thing that can help you, I often use a fan, but you can also use a white noise machine to kind of absorb some of the noises you hear.
There it is.
Because wherever you are, there's either going to be a dog that's barking, or a neighbor upstairs, or the hotel door. There's going to be things. So anything that you can help to absorb.
We had fun in a hotel recently with all of the doors slamming in the hallways.
Well, the thing is, the locks are so heavy and the doors are so heavy, it makes a noise too. So
this is what the white noise machine looks like. It still has its plastic on. But
yep, there it is. That's an option. So the question, do people sleep on their travels? I try to fit it all in and usually don't sleep enough. That's right. That can be an issue too, because you want to put so much in the time. Maybe, and we're going to be talking about this in a little bit, maybe if you can kind of bank it a little bit before you leave, but I know there's the stress of trying to pack and stuff. So, you know, maybe have some decom time afterwards where you can catch up a little bit, because you might be creating a sleep debt. But if you can kind of pay it off when you get home, that's a possibility too.
And I know I'm guilty of that. I try to cram in as much as possible into every single waking moment.
Yes.
And sometimes you're not too happy.
Not as I try. I keep up, but I like having a little bit of downtime. Just because of our rhythm, our circadian rhythm of our bodies. There are times during the day we're more focused. There's time during the day we're more productive. There are times during the day where we're sleepier. And I, after lunch or whatnot, kind of fall a little bit. I like to chill a little bit and then ready to go for the evening.
Yes.
So, yep. But another thing you can do to help with sleep, a white noise machine, a fan, is getting a blindfold like this. And this is super easy. I think I got this at Bed Bath & Beyond or Kohl's or whatever. And I sleep with it all the time, actually. It helps without getting too pedantic or anything. The light that comes in can confuse your brain. That's why you have that blue shade on your phones and stuff that can confuse your brain. So if you can shut that out, any light that comes in while you're sleeping, it actually can provide better sleep for you at night. So if you're not able to sleep as long because you're trying to squeeze everything in, if you can just at least block out some of the light, then that can help too. So yes. Thank you, Happy Trails. Yes. Naps are good. I am a huge proponent for a nap.
She took one in a park in London once. So.
I was so tired. I'm so tired. I just kind of collapsed there. But I woke up and he was like 20 feet from me. Who is this girl? But anyway.
Yeah, like the documentary film crew that ended up near you.
I woke up, there was a film crew. Not filming me, but oh my gosh, I was just so exhausted from the jet lag and stuff. We'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, that was funny. So yeah, like sunrise. Yeah, I understand. I understand sunrises and sunsets. Those are beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
So, All right, so the next thing, jet lag.
Jet lag, yes.
Woo!
It's caused by traveling east or west over multiple time zones.
Yes.
And can cause all sorts of fun symptoms like irritability,
Whee!
nausea,
Fun.
headaches,
Yee!
fatigue,
Love.
daytime drowsiness.
Fun. Yes.
So there are some things that you can do to...
And pissiness.
Careful, we are on YouTube.
I'm sorry. Moody. You can become moody.
Gotta keep it PG-13.
Sorry, PG here. Yeah, so it's really your rhythm, because we all have a rhythm, is messed up. So when some of you might be really good. I know Daniel's a lot better with jet lag, and generally speaking, guys tend to do a little better with jet lag than women do. That's generalization. But you might be totally fine going to California. We're in the Eastern time zone right now. So California right now is 3 hours behind. You might just be able to do it just like that. And others go to like Chicago, which is Central time zone. They're just 1 hour behind, and it's like, oh, I feel foggy and I don't know. So it all depends on your own personal experience and your own personal body. Anything else?
Well, there are some ways in which you can try and deal with jet lag. One thing is if you're going on a long flight to the east, and just trying to make sure, looking at my notes here, make sure I get this right. If you're going on a long flight to the east, go to bed early several days before the trip. And if you're going on a long flight west, try to go to bed later for several days before the trip.
Yeah.
So that can help, adjust your circadian rhythm to the new time zone.
Excuse me. Sorry, I got a little tickle in my throat. I think the biggest thing is try to get yourself on their time zone as soon as you can.
Yeah.
As soon as you can. And sometimes they'll say it's harder going east. I think that's what they say. Coming back west. Excuse me, I might get some water here.
Well, you're kind of getting extra hours by going west.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
exactly. So I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
Oh, you're fine.
I'll get some water. I'll be right back.
Okay, another thing to remember is when you arrive at your location, try to avoid drinking any alcohol, which can cause, I know that's a bit of a downer, but that can cause some interferences with your sleep patterns. And also avoid anything that can keep you awake at night, like caffeine.
So in other words, just keep the drinking at a minimum that first night if you can. And get yourself on their schedule and on their time zone as soon as you can. Yeah, and getting light is really, really good.
Yes.
There's something called grounding too, and this is completely individual. Yeah, where if you take your shoes off and your socks off and actually feel the ground, there's something that happens physically that can help you get on that rhythm and on that time zone faster. So just a couple ideas there.
I think it's also called earthing.
Earthing, yeah. So anything like that. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So just get up at your normal times and then use the naps in the afternoon. So that's an idea too. Absolutely. And that's the great thing about traveling too, is just finding your own personal way of doing it. So yeah.
And I try to sleep on the airplane. I don't know if that's always a good thing or not. Well, unless there's free movies, and then I won't sleep as much.
Some of you might. I struggle a little bit getting good sleep on the airplane, and then some of you might have no problems at all. We did one red eye one time that not so much. Whereas some people love taking red eyes, because as soon as they get off the plane, like if they're like going to England or whatnot, as soon as they get off the plane, they're ready to go. It's a little bit more for me.
But yeah, drinking water can help with jet lag as well. That's a very good point.
Excellent point. Yes. Actually, yes, yes, because dehydration will definitely not help you get there. So excellent idea.
All right, tip number 3. And if you just joined us, there's a total of 5 tips. But if you stayed until the very end, we have a bonus tip number 6. All right, tip number 3 is take preventative measures.
Yes.
And that can include avoiding dehydration when you're on a plane, like Happy Trails Hiking just mentioned.
Yes.
So thank you for noting that.
And you're right. Planes can be so dehydrating with the pressurized, the air up there.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a very, very good point.
Yep. And there are some things that we take. Now, I just want to say that a disclaimer, we are not getting paid for mentioning any of these products.
Nope.
One thing I would like to point out, though, is White Noise Sound Machine that we showed earlier. We did get that for free from the company in exchange for a fair and honest review, which was a previous video that we've done.
Yeah.
So
Just
wanted to emphasize that. But some of the things that we personally use, I love taking airborne.
Yes, I believe it started by a teacher, by the way.
Yes, and I am a teacher myself, and I know that especially this time of the year, I have kids coughing. I had a teacher actually. I was talking with her, and she suddenly started coughing and said, "Sorry, I have to take antibiotics." I'm like, okay, wonderful.
Thanks for sharing everything, including your germs.
Yes. So airborne, it's like a chewable multivitamin. It helps support the immune system.
You can also get airborne in a little powder too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. And another thing which I like using is it's called Emergen-C.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you basically a mega dose of vitamin C.
Yeah, and other goodies.
And other goodies, yes. But it's like a powder that you pour into water and you mix up and drink it. So, I find this pretty effective. And personally, this is, I don't know if it's backed by medical science or not. It's just a personal, what's the term? Anecdote.
Yeah.
A personal anecdote that I find it tends to help me better. Maybe it's psychological in my head, but I tend to get sick less often whenever I take Emergen-C, especially before a trip.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah, and we'll get to the Clorox wipes in a bit. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Another thing you can do now, this is this is for mold.
Yes, this is for mold and mildew and dust.
But you can get those antiviral face masks if you want. I know if you travel over to Asia a lot, they wear these all the time. Now again, the ones we're talking about are flatter and they go behind the ears like so. Either if your immune system is compromised or if you've got something, it might be a way to go. Mm-hmm. Just now, sometimes it can look if you're getting on the plane, you're boarding, and you see someone with one of those, it can be a little disconcerting.
Yes.
But it's a preventative measure, and yeah. Another thing too. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, airplanes can be very, very germy environments because think of it, you are in an enclosed capsule.
Yep.
With I don't know how many hundreds or so people.
Yeah, I don't like to think about it too much. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, and kids.
Oh, you're welcome for the demo.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, but it's kind of a perfect storm of germs and being in a tight tube in the air.
Yes.
And yeah.
And I think, I don't know, I read someplace that the air in front of the plane gets filtered first.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So if you're in the economy class, you kind of are,
We're in the unwashed masses section.
Literally.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Another reason to do first class.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
But you had you learned something about adjusting the airflow above you?
Yeah. So the airflow little Chikawaka thing there and the
airflow jet, I guess.
Jet thing where the air comes out. If you shoot it in front of you, it kind of moves the air forward and can help. So if I hear sneezers in the back or coughing in the back, I'll automatically just adjust it and point to the front. So just a couple ideas to help with that. And definitely the wiping down for sure, because even if they wipe down the trays and whatnot, they're not going to probably do a very thorough job. So, just a couple things to think about.
Well, some of the things that are most contaminated with germs on the airplane are actually the headrest.
Yes.
Where you lie back your head.
Yep.
So that's easy wipe down because usually that's a non-porous material.
Yeah.
I mean, not always. It could be some big cloth there, but still doesn't hurt to wipe it down. Another major thing that tends to be very dirty is the seat pocket.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you don't want to You don't want to put food in seat pocket.
Oh,
There
well.
have even been times when people put dirty diapers inside the seat pocket. So,
Oh,
those get pulled out
yes.
afterwards, but they're not
Huh.
the seat pockets are not sanitized.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So,
All right. You're right. You're
yes.
right. So those are things in an
Mhm.
airplane.
Yeah.
The,
I also feel better about wiping down the tray table.
yes, yes.
And also when you get into the hotel, the TV remote.
Yes.
Yes.
Dirtiest thing, TV remote. Now you don't want a nasty toilet or anything. And I definitely look for that. But yeah, that remote.
Yeah. Housekeeping, I think, will usually wipe down the toilet handle, but
Hope so.
I don't think they
Here's
do
hoping.
anything about the remote.
Yeah,
So,
not very
yeah.
much. So like light switches and the remote, just things where people touch. Yeah.
Yes, and yes, ew. Put nothing in the seat pockets. I agree with
yeah.
you.
And
Don't
you're
put
right.
your favorite book in there.
Or your favorite muffin. Yes, the wipes are used the whole trip. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Yeah. And the thing is, neither one of us are germaphobe at all, really. Yeah. But just a couple of things that we can, mitigate anything. But yeah, I'm going to think more about the seat pocket thing a little bit more. So, all right. Tip number 2.
Tip number 2. Medical concerns.
Yeah.
All right. When traveling certain parts of the world, you have to be aware of the fact that you might need special vaccinations when traveling there. So again, we're not medical professionals. We highly recommend that you see your doctor if you have any concerns regarding that. There are certain websites that can help you figuring out what vaccinations, if any, you might need. Vaccines.gov, the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC.gov are 2 great websites to check out. But of course, always talk with your medical professional.
Definitely. The other thing is just, excuse me, look at your health insurance and what's covered and where it's covered. And again, this is something you'll need to do ahead of time just to make sure.
Yeah, just make certain that if you have to go to an emergency room in some other in a foreign nation, that your insurance will cover it.
Yeah, or yeah, just looking at everything that's involved.
And bring some basic supplies like Happy Trails hiking. I'm sure you understand that sometimes when you're hiking, you might get scuffed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Bring Band-Aids.
Yes. Band-Aids are a must.
Yes.
Even if you're not hiking, you can get a paper cut. You can hurt yourself on the luggage. It's crazy what cuts you get when you're traveling. It's craziness. So yeah, Band-Aids.
Yep. On the notes here it says bring peppermint and Tums.
That's me. I love peppermints just for belly issues. If they're if you're off a little bit or you've eaten something that doesn't quite sit right, a peppermint always helps. My belly anyway. If you don't want to go the Tums route or Rolaids route. But yeah.
And try and be aware of what you may be allergic to and obviously avoid those things. Peanut allergies can be very serious and you might be in a restaurant and or shellfish allergies and maybe they use peanuts in other dishes or they use the same cooking utensils for shellfish as they do for non-shellfish dishes.
Yeah.
I know I have violent reactions to escargot, so I try to avoid escargot whenever possible.
Yeah, ixnay and the escargot day.
That can be interesting.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, bringing a general first aid kit with you. Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
That's a great job. That's a great idea. Band-Aids and some little wipes and anything else. One thing I just thought about now, and Happy Trails might, and anybody, if you have any ideas, is anti-itch medicate or just some liquid or some lotion that you can rub on, because again, you might rub your leg up against something or your hand up against something, especially if you have a lot of allergies to things. It's something to look at and be aware of. So just a couple things. Yeah, and Dramamine's also a good idea too. Sometimes that can be a thing to help you if you've got motion sickness.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and if you go hiking here in North America, we do have poison ivy, poison oak.
Yes.
So maybe consider bringing something for that because you need to neutralize those plant oils as quickly as possible.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Yes, Benadryl is very good. Calamine lotion
Mhm.
for those things, or Epsom salt. The other thing too that made me think what you said, if you do a lot of hiking for sure, or be careful of ticks. You definitely want to be careful of that because of the potential diseases that could come from that. So
Yes.
yeah.
All right. So, although we are moving on to tip number 1, remember, if you stay with us until the very end, we will share with you a special bonus tip.
Woo!
Yes. Woohoo!
Yes.
So, tip number 1 is
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
be careful when flying with a cold or a flu.
Yes.
And this is something I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
When you fly with a cold or a flu, your ears cannot adjust to the pressure very well because you're all stuffed up. And your eardrums can actually rupture, causing permanent hearing damage.
Bummer.
Yes. I mean, I remember it was actually last December. I was completely unaware of this. I was flying with a cold, and I literally felt like my eardrum was about to go
Oh my gosh.
right into the face of the person who was sitting next to me, which actually wasn't my wife. She was in the, you were at the window seat, I was the aisle seat, and there was somebody between us. So it was horribly uncomfortable, and I did have to see an ear doctor after that. And I have just a tiny bit of ringing now in my left ear. So that's probably permanent. I mean, it's not horrible, but it can be. It can be really, really bad.
Just some things to think about. Yeah,
and there are some things that you can do to, if you know you have a cold or a flu, some things that you can do to try and mitigate, the discomfort. Take antihistamines. Take Flonase or something called Afrin. And this is actually something called fluticasone. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but this is actually something that I got from a prescription. That basically is a nasal spray to help with decongesting you. Also take Mucinex. I mean, these are all things that can help. One thing that it can be really useful is something known as earplanes, and this is something that you can buy from many travel stores. Basically, what earplanes are, they're earplugs, but they move slowly as pressure changes. So they help your ears adjust to pressure differentials, and you put them into your ears before takeoff. And some people say you can take them out after you reach maximum elevation. I think you can leave them in though, because you want to have them in all the way to the descent.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that way you can adjust for the fluctuations in air pressure a little bit better.
Yeah. The other thing too, I mean, the gentle, if you don't have a cold or whatever, the gentle just pushing on the, blowing in and closing your mouth can help pop your ears a little bit, or chewing gum, excuse me. So another couple things I wanted to add to help for that. If you have a neti pot or something like a neti pot that can wash out the sinus areas, that can help too. Having like a steamer, excuse me, and some essential oils can start moving things through so you're not so stuffed up. Because as we said before, the air's can be very dry up there, and dry, you don't want it all dried up because then the little guys can get in there, little germs.
I was about to say, who are the little guys?
I know. I like to anthropomorphize things. The little germs can get up there and do their business up there, and that's what you don't want. You want it to stay moist up there. So. So just some ideas there. So yeah.
Are we ready for the bonus tip?
I want to say one thing. Thank you very much. Happy trails hiking. That sometimes cacti can have some reactionary problems or some allergic reactions too, which is good to know because I actually don't know too much about cacti being on the East Coast, so appreciate that. And I guess 100% DEET is not allowed on planes, which is
I didn't know that.
I did not know that either. We use the eucalyptus and the lemon spray, so to help keep off the buggy bugs.
Well, those are very good with mosquitoes. I'm not sure if they will repel
Well,
other
with ticks,
bugs.
you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good, because ticks are just, ugh. Why do we have them? I know why we have them, but yeah, they can do a lot of damage. So thank you again.
Yes, thank you for that insight.
Yeah. All right. So the bonus.
Yeah. For those of you who are real, true travelers. The bonus tip is be aware of wildlife.
Ooh.
Yes.
And this is coming from two animal lovers, by the way.
Now, whenever we travel someplace, we try to look up what the dangerous wildlife are because we do like going out into nature.
Excuse me, yes.
And, like recently we were in Montana and I was quite surprised that there are no venomous snakes in Montana. So, yeah, well, except for any maybe zoos or places like that.
Yeah.
You have an escapee or two.
Exactly. We call them angry socks, by the way, or danger noodles.
Yes. But there are some places that may have venomous snakes. So if you're hiking those areas, you might want to make certain you have a snake bite kit with you.
Yeah, and look ahead to see what they are in that particular area. I mean, a lot of people know rattlesnakes, but do you know what a copperhead looks like? Do you know what a what is it, like black moccasin, or cottonmouth and all these? Is it the coral snake, or is that the one that?
Well, there is a coral snake, and then there's another non-venomous snake that mimics the look of the coral snake.
Yeah. So just be aware of where you're going. Or you could just go to Ireland and not have to have any snakes at all, which sounds really good to me. So
she's not a snake lover.
I appreciate their place in the ecology of the land. I just don't need to see them.
Well, they are quite amazing animals.
They
I mean, their whole body is almost like muscle.
Yeah.
And they can move without any limbs. So they are quite, amazing animals. But yes, Ireland is an awesome place.
Yes.
We visited there once, and we're looking forward to a revisit.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. But the other thing about wildlife too.
Well, I mean, be aware of ticks, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes can carry illnesses. You hear a lot about West Nile virus.
Yeah,
but they can carry other illnesses.
Definitely.
Recently we were in Montana, and being bear aware is very important.
Yes.
But, well, not only Montana, but any place where there are bears. And we made certain that we brought bear spray with us. And that was another previous video that we did demonstrating how to use bear spray. And no concerns, no actual bears were harmed during making that video.
No, we were in an empty parking lot.
Yes. But it's really cool. You have the mountains in background of Montana. So
I know, it was beautiful out there. Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. And then, when you're doing your hiking or whatever, yelling out, because the biggest thing is they get startled.
Yes.
But I always wondered, if you're yelling out, don't you startle them by yelling out?
Well, they know that you're coming that way. They have poor eyesight but good hearing.
Okay.
So you make a lot of noise that way you don't startle them. But yes, we did actually see a bear, and was actually
we did.
In Missoula, right? Missoula.
No, it was in Waterton. It was
Waterton?
Yeah, Waterton, Canada's right over the border from Montana. Part of the state park up there. And yeah, we saw Mama and her baby, and oh my gosh.
Well, a brown black bear.
Yep.
Yes.
That's another thing too. Not all black bears are black. How about them apples?
Yes.
They're brown and cinnamon.
And there's
cinnamon.
And there's even occasionally a white one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Almost like an albino.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, she was and the little baby bear who galloped behind her. Oh my gosh, the cutest thing ever. But yeah. But we were far enough away, way far. Actually, but nice to be a little closer. But yeah, so you just don't want to startle them, and we have the bear sprays.
And that'll be a future video where we show that hike, where we have that cute bear counter. It was cute.
God, they're so cute. So, and the other thing about wildlife, do you want to tell us?
Well, I mean, we had an experience in Iceland where we had where we were walking along the road, and again, this is a very cute video, and we love birds and everything, but
we do.
We had an interesting experience with Arctic terns. Uh-oh.
Or I have a stuffed falcon that's going to sit in for the So we were walking along in Iceland, and it was so neat because we were walking along, and there was a tern that was right there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, you're flying
Yeah, they're cute.
They're cute. They're
They're
there.
flying around, and
Yeah.
but then the noise they started making got a little bit
Louder.
louder
We
and
noticed
louder.
more coming and more coming and more, and then it's turned into that scene from the birds. So
Yes.
and I am not a danger noodles. I'm a little afraid of, but birds I'm not usually afraid of. I actually started getting a little afraid because they were coming right
Yeah.
down on us, and
They
I'm
were
like,
swooping upon us.
they were swooping. You're right. They were swooping, and we were going one way, and we could only get back going back through them when we realized there were nesting areas nearby,
and there were no
there were
warning
no
signs. Yes.
So I'm like, oh my god, they think we're gonna kill their babies. So I beelined it going back.
Of course, I'm here with my camera.
I know. I'm like,
I'm laughing as they're swooping down on me.
Trying to go, and you're like, honey, get out of the road. I'm like, they'll move.
The car will move.
The car will move. So yeah, that
the
was
oncoming car.
it was a little scary, but luckily none of them got us. But I was a wee bit scared for a minute. So anyway, so just being aware of those things. So
yeah, and you know, sometimes it's the smallest things that can swooping birds
yeah,
can be,
they are crazy.
They were crazy. Very reminiscent of the Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Definitely, especially when they think you're going to hurt your babies.
Yes.
And believe it, we are the last people to ever hurt anything in nature. But oh my goodness sakes, yeah.
But sometimes it's the smallest little thing that can really cause you a great discomfort.
Yeah,
Because I remember hearing about somebody in college who went to, I think it was like Arizona or New Mexico, and they were using an outhouse, and a little something that was hiding underneath the toilet seat bit him on the genitals.
Oh, there you go.
It was a black widow spider.
Oh my God.
So.
Oh, now if you think you're having a bad day, think about the black widow spider outhouse story. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. So yeah. Yeah.
He did survive, but you know, he had to go to the emergency room.
Yeah, made for a bad weekend for him. So
an interesting travel story, but
it makes a good story. A lot of pain, but yeah, you're right. Anything protecting its young is dangerous.
Yes.
The problem becomes, and this is a wildlife near my work, where I used to work. They have Canada geese, and in the spring, when they have their little goslings, who by the way are just the cutest little buttons, walking around, running around after mom and dad. But I came out of my building, and there were some Canada geese with their babies, and I was so excited, but they thought I was going to harm him, and so I'm beelining it to my car. And he's like hissing it, and they hiss hiss like danger noodles and cats. I'm like,
they can bite too.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to get to my car. I will not hurt your babies, believe me. But yeah, if they even perceive that you're going to hurt their babies, that can be dangerous. So and you know, we're laughing now, but it can be scary. So just being aware of that, any nesting, any of the times when the babies come out, just being aware of that, because that can amp up the already territorial part of those animals. So just to be aware of that.
Yeah, and when their reproductive time comes, they can get a little crazy too. Like around here in North Carolina, you have to be careful of the fall, because that's when deer can run out into the middle of the road.
Yeah, it definitely is mating season now, or you know, around this time. And yeah, it's and that's very, very serious. So,
yes.
Yeah. Moose during the rut. Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. So, any other wildlife stories or anything that you want to add, please feel free.
Yeah, please feel free to add anything that you want to the comments section below. If you have a wildlife story that you want to add that you personally experienced, or if there are other there are other, you know, things to be aware of when you travel in order to, you know, protect your health. I mean, you have to be careful of the food that you eat, the water that you drink.
Yes.
Yes. A lot of things that we didn't mention here today.
One other thing too, if you're going to Ireland or Scotland, there are going to be sheep everywhere.
Oh, yes.
And they might be in the middle of the road. So when we say be careful of the wildlife, we mean it in a different way. Be careful of the wildlife. Well, wildlife, they're sheep. They're not wild, but
they're cute. They're
very cute. But if they're in the middle of your road, you know, please don't hit them.
Yes.
But be aware, because
Mhm.
we don't see sheep walking around in our suburbs.
Yes.
So.
I remember once we were in Ireland, we were driving along, and the farms have fences around them, but like a goat found like a little crack in the fence
Oh
and
yeah.
managed to squirm himself out, and then the sheep was following him.
That's right.
It was very cute. The sheep following the goat, and in our rear view mirror, we saw the sheep trotting after the goat down the middle of the road.
The goat was such a bad influence. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so just being aware of those things and enjoying them too, if you can. But yeah, also, well, no, that was not a bad experience. The elk was beautiful. We ended up
Oh.
being right next to this elk
Mhm.
in Montana, and it was, I mean, literally like 6 feet away.
Yeah.
And he just stood there and ate his
Mhm.
food.
No, that's probably an example of what not to do,
Yeah.
because we probably shouldn't have gone that close to it.
But actually, he walked toward us.
Yes.
We got a little bit closer, and then he walked, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, what do we do?
We just stayed there, basically.
Yeah, until he left. Because I believe there are, aren't there restrictions and criteria of how close you can get to things? Yeah, which is good. But yeah, so just lots of fun things when you travel.
And by the way, the Iceland story, that is on video, so eventually we'll put it on YouTube, of the swooping birds. The elk that Tracy just mentioned, we also have that on video. That was actually at the end of us visiting the bison range.
The bison range.
Yeah,
yes.
that was that Montana
yes.
as well?
Yeah. Yep.
We were in Glacier National Park, so a beautiful place if you've never been there.
It was just gorgeous.
Our travel plans for this summer are still kind of up in the air.
Yeah. We'll see where we go, which is exciting. There's so many cool places in the world. So, yeah. So, I'm sure you do have a lot of wildlife stories there always. Oh my gosh. Okay, 25 yards for anything but bears and wolves, and 100 yards for those. Okay, so restrictions in national park. Thank you very much. So keeping 25 yards away. Just want to be clear. He did move toward us. The elk moved toward us, and we didn't know what to do because we didn't want to upset him or startle him. I don't know enough about elk.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I guess ideally you walk back slowly.
Well, we were in the car, actually.
Yeah, true.
So, but yeah, so thank you for those, for that tip for sure.
Yes.
And that's just to keep us safe, keep them safe, and also so they don't get too, they're comfortable enough with humans that they're not going to attack. But again, you don't want them to become so comfortable because they are wildlife and they need to live their own lives.
And that reminds me, never feed wildlife. I mean, especially bears. You definitely don't want them to start associating humans with food. Yeah, because then that can create a dangerous situation for people.
And there's a lot of stories where bears end up in people's backyards and they're looking out and they're really comfortable, or they end up in the house or something. Yeah. Very good. So Happy Trails Hiking has a lot of park travel needs on their channel. So just something to think about, which is great. That's wonderful.
Oh, and the elk enters your campground. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wow. There you go. Yeah. Very good.
Oh, thank you for sharing. That's awesome.
Yay. So this has been a great video, and it was a lot of fun to do, and great hearing from you guys. And thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us. And always remember, life is sweet for the bold, so adventure with us on Travel Odysseys.
See you next time.
See you next time. Again, thank you for joining us.